Hey everyone, Nat Daddy here, and today we're gonna give a review and overlook at the recent facsimile that just came out of Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man 50th anniversary. Since this came out, none of us ever thought it would come out again, especially in this giant treasury edition size like it did originally all those years ago. Um, I am a kid of the 70s and that, so of course I do have the original and that, and from what I've seen so far, this is identical except the price tag difference. $2 back in 1978-79 compared to $20 nowadays. Otherwise, this is the exact same. I went with the Alex Ross cover for the new facsimile reprint here. They do have the original one there. I'm just a big fan of the Alex Ross cover there. Even many years ago when it was on the cover of this old Wizard magazine, so way back in 1998. So super pumped for when they announced this was coming out, especially in a couple months. I believe it's April. They're gonna have a new one coming out, a new story of Superman and Spider-Man together again. First time in probably about 30 years since that's happened, but truly a great book here. There was a second book in that old Treasury series that came out with Superman, Spider-Man. I like this cover just as much, nice painted cover. No word if that's gonna get reprinted or not, so we'll see. But like I said, this is truly awesome. This also is, they have a blank cover as well, I believe, and I know for sure they have a foil version, so lots of versions here. Hopefully your shop ordered some if you didn't pre-order this, but again, great cover. Let's jump into this. So I do remember when this came out in 1978, 79, I was just a little kid, like 4 or 5 or so, and I always saw this on every comic shop wall and that when I was a kid, which there wasn't too many, there was only a couple, but I remember seeing this all the time. This was advertised in all the comics and that as a kid back then, so this was a really big deal, you know, Marvel and DC working together. And again, this is dry in book, so hard to keep in great condition. You can't get these graded even, they don't do them this big. We have classic Superman story stuff going on. We have Lex Luthor. And then of course, in case you weren't familiar with Superman, you only read Spider-Man, it gives you a little breakdown of him here as well. And then we switch over to the Spider-Man part, which is the second prologue. And some amazing art in this book here. They went to town for this. We got Doc Ock. Classic 70s looking J. Jonah Jameson there. Again, some more great artwork here. Classic people doing classic things here. For anybody who hasn't, been looking for this, 20 bucks is a great price. Like I said, high quality, the original one's there for $100 or so, and again, very rare to find. So we end up finding Lex Luthor ends up being in the same jail as Doc Ock, and they break out, and now they're going to team up against, of course, their greatest enemies here, Superman and Spider-Man. So there is a big news thing going on, and of course the Daily Bugle and the Daily Planet have people there attending. And Clark Kent and Peter Parker end up working together on a team. Or is it Lois? And then there's our big moment, big double page splash. Superman and Spider-Man meeting together for the first time. again, even just seeing that now brings back a lot of nostalgia feelings. It still kind of blows my mind a little bit, and it has that newspapery feel to it. So this is exactly what the original felt like. Even smells like it too. So, again, some more great battle scenes. And this never was reprinted in regular comic book size. I do believe, though, because I seem to remember recently that I think these were printed in that Marvel versus DC Omnis that were coming out. As you can see, another great big double page spread. And it's a good story too. I know it's a typical, villains teaming up against the heroes and that, but it's not super silly. It's not like, Scooby-Doo teaming up to meet, other heroes and stuff like that. But typical Marvel and typical DC stories at the time. And just some great artwork. Of course, Lex Luthor in that great purple suit, Legion of Doom style. And Doc Ock in his classic green jumper. And I'm glad in here that it is Doc Ock and not the Green Goblin, because how do you team up with the Green Goblin? So you got two evil geniuses like Otto Octavius and Lex Luthor. Look at that. And of course, everybody, the good guys win and they cart off their villains to jail. The end. Alright. So that's a quick look at the reprinted facsimile of this that came out. Identical to the original. Again, this is the Alex Ross cover. They do have the original version there too, and a foil version in this giant treasury size. Hopefully you'll get a lot of people interested in that upcoming crossover that I believe is coming in April of Superman and Spider-Man. Until then, we'll see you guys with more reviews. Peace out.